So Maria, why did we do this? If you dig into detail.
Yeah, can I think I'll start with a short film on how we're doing this and on last year's competition.
Startup for Climate is a very important competition because net zero by 2045 is coming around the corner, and we need all the innovations we can find to secure to accelerate that.
Well, I always look for content that you have a brilliant idea and that you focus on trying to describe what is unique with your solution.
Yes. So the why we're doing this, perhaps some of you have participated before. Every year we see at least a few familiar faces around here. I think someone needs to mute their microphone. Done. Thank you. I should also add that everyone is welcome to participate as many times as they want. So why are we doing this? When we launched back in 2020, as you mentioned, Kristofer, we spoke about a lot about on the ongoing climate crisis, how it is in many ways, mainly an energy crisis. Basically, the main problem is our burning of fossil fuels, and when we do it inefficiently. So unfortunately, much has not changed since we started this competition. If anything, things have gotten slightly more precocious each year. So to sum it up, what we have on our hands is a climate crisis, a global instability, energy crisis, a need for rapid decarbonization, wars, etc. And these factors bring on a new disturbance to energy systems, trade and markets that are focusing us to change the way we think about energy. The energy sector is one of the world's main polluters, unfortunately, and also driver of global warming, but the energy sector is also an enabler of most of the things that we today take for granted and need for our daily lives. So we know where to start the transformation. That is, the transition to low carbon future starts with the energy sector that has created fossil-free platform for the rest to build upon. In just 5.5 years, we need to have cut global emissions in half. That's a pretty big transformation, but we're already seeing a shift where governments and companies are investing more and more in clean technologies, such as renewable energy production, large-scale storage, Ellevio being one of the answers. And we see that there's an interest and in channeling resources to energy innovation, since we have to find new ways to build our society.
Oh, it's very bad connection.
I briefly mentioned Ellevio's interest in energy storage, but I know there's a lot more to be said about the role they see themselves in playing in the energy transition. And of course, we're doing Startup for Climate for the 5th year. So Chris, please tell us more about what's happening at Ellevio.
I think I'm going to start with maybe the new kid on the block for Ellevio, and that is we actually started a whole new business area, a whole new legal company called Ellevio Energy Solutions. And one of the big reasons there was that we really saw potential and a need for storage solutions in the future energy system. So with Ellevio Energy Solutions, we have a team of about a dozen people that is working with storage and flexibility solutions, and delivering different kind of EV charging solutions and working with industries to help them decarbonize their business. And when it comes to energy storage, we just, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we inaugurated 2 sites at the west coast in Sweden, 2 times 15 megawatt, so a fairly decent size. And also next week, I'm going to present investment proposal to our owners for a far bigger battery program that we want to roll out in Sweden. But again, when you're working with storage, you also need someone that can run a storage solutions, that can harness the value of the flexibility potential that exists in a storage. So actually, one of the winners that we had a couple of years ago, Kraftem, or Flower Technologies, as they're called now, They actually won the competition. I think it was two or 3 years ago. We invested in them 2 years ago, and the reason was that we saw a strategic fit to how we want to develop the energy system with help of storage. So I think also for you that participate or want to participate in Startup for Climate, there is a real need that it can be more than the prize money. They can actually be business ventures in the stake here. So that is one thing we're doing. The other thing is we're known for being one of the biggest electricity grid companies in Sweden, or as we call it, distribution system operator. So we have about 20% of all the customers and the grid in Sweden, distributing a bit, almost 30 terawatt hours of electricity each year. And one thing that we have really done the last couple of years is investing in new technologies and investing in grid, in building out the grid. And when I joined Ellevio back in 2016, our yearly spend was 1 billion Swedish crowns. Now we have 3.5 billion Swedish crown annually that we invest in substations, transformers, and also what we're going to do now in the upcoming 3 years is increase that to 7 billion. So we know that we're going to invest a lot of money, but also we need to invest a lot of new technology. So this means that we don't really know how the future energy system will look like, but we know that it will not look the same. And we know that we need to be curious, need to take some bold ideas and working together, both with established companies, but also with these young people, young entrepreneurs, young companies that maybe have a vision or have a solution that can scale and make a true impact. And we chosen to do this with GodEl because we share a lot of value components. And maybe, Maria, just quick note about GodEl.
Yes, thank you, Chris. GodEl, Sweden's eighth biggest electricity provider. We've been around since 2005, so slightly longer than this competition. We're owned by the Good Cause Foundation, and where the vision is that all our profits go to our NGOs. So we're donating all our profits to NGOs, and they are experts at what we do. That's our core, but we also do a lot of things today that we couldn't have dreamed of back when we started in 2005. And definitely not at that speed that we're doing at the moment. The market is currently changing very, very rapidly, and GodEl is changing with that. The core stays intact, but our idea to create value that reaches beyond our organization is still very important. One way of staying in top of on things and connecting with other fast-moving actors is this, and together with you driving the energy transition. And since last year, our partnerships and offerings have expanded and now includes services as controlling energy use and production through our app, smart services for your EV charging, your heating system, and solar panels, and much more. So Ellevio and GodEl together are on the front lines of the energy transition, and our best way of creating change is in collaboration with great partners, as you mentioned, Chris. So, of course, I have to mention the other collaborators making Startup for Climate happen each year. We have things with Linda, the Innovation Grow House. They help us navigate the world of tech and entrepreneurship, providing us with a lot of valuable insights through this process, and also providing us with this Zoom account. Our second collaborator is We Don't Have Time, the world's biggest social network with a solid focus on climate action, headed by founder Ingmar Rensock, also known as the Green Mark Zuckerberg. We don't have time talk, and the world is short to get around. Okay, Chris, let's get on to the challenge.
Great. So thanks for the introduction. And I think the next part is really describing what a challenge is, the timeline of the competition, and also gonna take the time to answer one of the questions that I saw just popped up here. And is the competition limited to energy production, storage, and distribution? No, I mean, this is a really broad kind of competition. We don't know what the silver bullet will entail, but we know that it should be for actually helping and accelerating the climate transition, the energy transition. So that is what we're looking for. So smart solutions, and maybe we can just flip on to the next page and look at the timeline. And this is a journey, right? So we open up the party today, the 22nd of May, and please go along and you can file the submissions. It is fairly a straightforward form, but again, my kind of recommendations is not to wait too long. You know, if you can do it before the summer break, that's brilliant. But the deadline, and it's sharp, the deadline is August 25. After that, there is no more applications that are going into our system. In September, the 2nd of September, we open up People's Vote, and it's going to be open until the end of September. And as I've said before, I mean, the People's Vote feature is a nice one because that directly qualifies you to the final 8 contestants. And we're gonna, in a jury set up from both things, my team and Maria's team, we're gonna choose best on the applications, the 7 companies that we believe in, the 7 ideas that we really believe in, and they need to have the nerves in place and the pitch deck in place to November 14, the big day, where we're gonna actually crown the 2 winners. And what is the prize then? Well, the price actually, as you could see in the video before, and as we have mentioned, is 2 million Swedish crowns. So 1 million per company. But also we have expert coaching, 3 hours from one of the jury members. I'm going to come into that later on, who the jury are. Very prominent people in this space. And then also, if since you're a startup, I know that you're loving hanging out with like minds and that have ideas. So a Things membership is a 1-year membership where you can hang out and harness the full value of being a Things member for the startup community. So what is the requirement? What should your innovation do? And you can flip on to the next page, where kind of the overall concept should be that it should promote the switch from current energy and transport system to those that are smarter, more efficient, and can reduce humanity's negative impact on the planet Earth. And again, we chose this with purpose, not to find solutions within storage or transport or AI solutions, but we said that let's have a broad competition, let's have a dedicated jury that is screening the applicants, and also we really select those ideas that can make the most impact. Maybe it is on changing the consumer behavior, or maybe it's some super cool component that can reduce the carbon footprint in some way. We don't know yet, and it can look like the previous winners. They have a broad spectrum of different solutions. And we have some requirements that not everyone can apply. It needs to be a Swedish registered AB, aktiebolag. That is a mandatory requirement. No more than 49 employees. So it should be a fairly small companies. And that also includes the potential partners and affiliated companies into that. And the last one is that it should not be publicly listed. So it should be really a company that is in the first steps of the journey.
Great.
Yeah.
And of course, there are some criteria for the shortlist and jury to evaluate your innovation on. What you mentioned, Chris, are the basic requirements. But once you've joined the challenge and submitted your innovation, it will be judged on how well it meets a set of criteria set by the jury, namely the following. So whether your submission will be chosen to pitch and have a chance to win the grand prize is determined on how well it meets the following criteria. That is climate impact, for example, reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, or reduced and or more efficient energy use, behavior change that lead to sustainable consumption, doability, that is, you guessed it, doable, is the business model profitable, and how does it differ from already existing ideas? And the heart is an official criterion based solely on the jury's emotional response to your project. So check in on the jury that you, Chris, will present later. And remember, what is considered the energy transition is, of course, very broad. This is not exclusively a tech challenge, and we've mentioned that so many times. As long as you can make your case for your innovation being important to the energy transition, then you are very and more welcome to join. Previous years, we've had projects in apps and gamification on behavioral change, growing hemp for climate neutral building insulation, fossil-free fertilizer, and many, many more contestants. So if in doubt, just go for it, and we'll emphasize the broadest possible spectrum of applicants in all aspects of this. Okay, some on the previous winners for the past 4 years have been NJ, PFAL, Ligna, Flower, NitroCapt, and last year, these 2 competitors that you will meet shortly. As you mentioned, Chris, there's a submission form. We try to keep it simple. It's can be found on our website, startupforclimate.com, as of today. And as I said, the idea is that it should be pretty quick, pretty easy, and since we all have plenty of things to do. We close on the 25th, just a small note on that again. And the submission form contains of the project elevator pitch. How does your project impact the energy transition? If you were granted the 1 million Swedish crowns, how would you choose to spend it? And if you win, what will you achieve in the first 6 months after receiving the money? And what is your main obstacle to turning your project into a profitable business? And how can it be overcome? So a pretty straightforward submission form found as of now on startupforclimate.com. I mentioned the jury. Chris, will you please present the jury?
Absolutely. And just a small addition, just who should apply. I mean, I would like to encourage also females entrepreneurs. When we have reviewed the applicants and founders of these small companies, there has been a male dominance, but we believe that there is another mix out there. So if you also want to put an extra word on that, and also that the people's vote. What we have done, just to put some cherry on the cake, is that we have added an extra 5 Swedish crowns to Doctors Without Borders per vote. So it's about spreading the gospel and making impact on several different areas. What about the jury? I mean, the jury is I think you probably heard and read about all of them. And let's start with the big guy with a big heart, the social entrepreneur Stefan Klok, founder of Good Cause Foundation, Kivra, GodEl. Years of GlocalNet back in the day. So again, also working with helping a lot of companies investing and make them grow. The second jury is actually my boss, Johan Lindehag, more than 25 years experience within the electricity system in different roles, and being the CEO of Ellevio in the last, I would say, almost 10 years. The third one is Jane Valerud, prominent angel investor who has invested in numerous companies like Klarna, Lensway, 2 of the examples that you probably heard about. And the fourth one, Lina Bertling Tjernberg, were elected, I think, a couple of years ago, Årets Kraftkvinna, the Power Woman of the Year a couple of years ago, and also been very kind of in the buzz because she's an expert in the energy system, and she is a professor and director of the energy platform at the Royal Institute of Technology. And the fifth member of the jury is Johanna Mossberg, who currently works as a department manager at the Swedish Energy Agency, Energimyndigheten, and she have had different roles and expert areas in the energy system. So again, I think we have a very good mix of 5 prominent people that probably knows what it takes to be successful in this area. And remember, like, you're gonna choose, if you're the winner, one of the lucky, you're gonna have 3 hours per jury member for coaching sessions, and they can help you with ideas, some contacts, or just review your thinking. And also, I just want to mention this membership at Thinks. So what happened last year? I know that one of my favorite photos from last year is this one. This is one of the biggest prize checks I've ever seen, 1 million each. And to the left, we see Jan and his team from Norwegia. That big Norwegian smile, I just love it. And on the right-hand side, Sam Vision, we see with their prize check. So now I think you want to understand what kind of companies are the winners from last year, and at the end maybe they can share some ideas how they were thinking when they applied.